Hello guys, today's story that I am about to tell you is very heartbreaking one. It's about two innocent little girls who said goodbye to this world after getting separated from their father. Their secret was revealed to everyone through Rose, as Rose had gone to construction site with her dad. So viewers, how are you all? Welcome to my channel BlackMare With AF. Please subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon for more updates. It was one day when a pit was being dug at a construction site, and on that day, Thomas had taken his family to show them that site. After more than half of the pit had already been dug, a doll was found inside. It was in pieces, with the arms and legs separated. The workers at the site threw the pieces away, and on the other side, Thomas was showing the site to his family. Suddenly, Thomas' daughter Rose, who was 7 years old, saw the pieces of the doll. Rose said to Thomas, "Wow, Dad, a doll," and ran to pick up it up. But Thomas came over and took the doll from her hands and threw it away. Rose started crying and said, "Dad, I want that doll." Thomas said, "Rose, don't be stubborn. I will get you a new doll." But the Rose kept looking at that doll. It was as if the doll was drawing Rose towards it. While Thomas was taking his wife, Ruby, a little ahead to explain about the site, Rose took advantage of the opportunity and picked up the doll. She hid it under the car seat. When they reached home at 5 p.m., Rose secretly took the doll to her bedroom. And while talking to the doll, she said, "Poor doll, how did this happen to you? I will fix you right now. I will do your hair and make you beautiful." Just then, Ruby knocked the door. Rose got scared. Out of fear, Rose hid the doll under the bed. Ruby came in and called Rose for dinner. Rose then went downstairs to eat. After eating, she went to sleep. The next day, Rose took the doll out from under the bed. She tried to put it together and somehow managed to do so. As soon as the doll was fixed, a strong wind blew through the house, causing things to topple over. Just then, Ruby entered Rose's room, and in fright, Rose hid the doll under the bed again. Suddenly, the wind stopped. Ruby began to pick up all the things that had fallen, and Rose helped her. A little later, when Rose returned to her room, she saw that the doll was not under the bed, but was placed on the bed, as if someone had carefully put it there. That night, Rose went to sleep with the doll. It was almost 2 a.m. when she suddenly heard a voice saying, "Give me that doll." Rose's eyes shot open. She saw a girl about her age standing in front of her, saying, "This doll is mine." Rose replied, "Who are you? This doll is mine. I found it." The girl said, "No, this doll is mine, and I just want to look at it." Rose asked, "You won't take it away, right?" The girl replied, "No, I won't." Rose asked, "Promise?" The girl said, "Yes, I promise." Just as Rose was about to give the doll to her, another voice called out, "She is lying. This doll is mine." Rose stopped and asked, "Who are you?" The other girl replied, "I'm her sister. This doll is mine." Now Rose is saying, No, this doll is mine. Both of you are lying." Those two girls were glaring at Rose as if they were going to kill her, and they started coming closer to Rose. Rose got scared, and those two girls wanted the doll. As soon as both of them went near Rose, Rose screamed loudly. She screamed, calling for her mom, and Thomas and Ruby also ran into Rose's room. By then, those two girls had disappeared. Rose tells her parents, "There were two girls in my room. They were talking to me." Thomas says, "Honey, you must have had a dream. Go to sleep now." Rose says, "Dad, I'm telling the truth. I'm scared. I'm going to sleep with you both tonight." Ruby is little surprised to see Rose so frightened. The next morning, Rose goes to school and the Thomas goes out for his office work. Ruby is working in the kitchen when suddenly the water tap starts gushing loudly. Ruby turns it off, but it starts again, and suddenly dishes start falling. A strong wind is blowing, as if there's a storm in the house. Then suddenly a Ruby hears a voice saying, I want pasta in my food. Ruby turns around in fear. From the other side, a voice saying, No, no, I don't want pasta. I want noodles. Make noodles. Ruby says, Who's there? Ruby calls out Rose's name. Rose, is that you? Aren't you just teasing me? Then Ruby remembers that she's gone to school. So whose voice is this? Suddenly, the voice starts to grow louder, as if someone is arguing, and it sounds like dishes are being thrown at each other. Suddenly, Ruby sees both girls. She screams loudly and faints. When Rose and Thomas come home, they find Ruby unconscious in the kitchen. Thomas sprinkles water on Ruby's face to bring her back consciousness. When Ruby wakes up, she starts crying and hugs Thomas. Ruby says, Last night what Rose was said was true. I saw those two girls today too. Thomas says, This just your imagination. After hearing Rose yesterday, you have been thinking about this. It must have been a hallucination. Ruby says, We can't stay here anymore. Let's leave this place. Thomas says, First you rest and then we will think about it. Just then, Ruby's sister Noah comes and is shocked to see Ruby so distressed. She asks Ruby, What happened? Why are you so upset? Ruby tells her everything, the whole story. She tells her about the girls she saw and what Rose saw, everything. Noah says, This is very stressful situation. We need to think about this. Noah continues, A few days ago, something similar happened in my neighborhood. There was a presence of evil spirits in their house too. And they had called a big old man. If you want, I can call him here too. Thomas says, I don't believe in all this. Ruby pleads with Thomas, saying, Please call him once for my sake. Thomas finally agrees. The next day, the holy man arrives at Thomas' house. As soon as he steps in, he senses something is amiss. Ruby tells him, Holy man, ever since we moved to this place, strange things have been happening to us. I and Rose have been seeing two girls. The holy man then asks, Where is your daughter Rose? Ruby replies, She is in her room. Come, I will take you to her. The holy man goes to Rose's room. He asks Rose, Daughter, what happened to you that night? Rose tells the holy man everything. She says she saw two girls who were fighting. The holy man asks, What were they fighting about? Rose becomes quiet out of fear. The holy man says, Don't be afraid, child. If you tell me everything, I can help you. Rose, scared, takes out the doll. Seeing the doll, Ruby and Thomas are shocked. Thomas says, We saw this doll in two pieces at that site. But what is doing here, Rose? Then Rose tells them the entire truth. Dad, I'm sorry, I brought that doll home that day and I fixed it up carelessly. Just then, the holy man asks Rose to give it him. When the holy man takes the doll, a strong wind starts blowing, as if there's a storm. Then the holy man says, Whatever is happening is because of this doll. Then Thomas and Ruby ask, What should we do now, holy man? The holy man says, Listen to me carefully. Sit in your places, no matter what happens. Don't move from your place. Then the holy man creates a circle and places the doll in the middle. He starts chanting something. A strong wind starts blowing and things start falling here and there. Suddenly, the two girls appear, one on each side. The holy man asks them, Why did you come to this house? What have these people done to you? One girl says, This doll is mine, while the other says, No, it's my doll. The holy man says, Leave this place. Both girls reply, We won't leave, no matter what you do, and disappear with a laugh. The holy man tells Thomas and Ruby, This doll is the root of the problem. The question is, what should we do with this doll? Thomas asks, What should we do now? What's the solution? If we burn this doll, throw it in the water or buried it, will the problem be solved? The holy man replies, if we harm this doll in any way, Rose's life might be in a danger. Noah asks, what should we do now? You have solved many problems. Please solve our problems too. Whatever is happening is because of this doll. We have to find out the secret of this doll. Give me a day and I will solve this problem. Saying this, he gives everyone a talisman and leaves. The next day, when the holy man returns at night, he says to everyone, listen carefully to me. I have found out the secret. Listen, this is an old story. Once upon a time, there was a poor family living in a mountainous region. There were 3 people living in that house, a father and 2 daughters. The mother had passed away when the girls were young, and the father was very poor. They barely managed to make ends meet. Somehow, he managed to feed his daughters. One day, the father returned from the market, having managed to buy a doll for his daughters. He said to both of them, here is a doll for both of you. Play with it together. But one of the girls said, Dad, can I keep it this doll? I like it. The other girl said, Dad, I want this doll. And they started arguing. The father tried to calm them and told them to eat their dinner and go to sleep. The next day, while the father was asleep, he heard them arguing. When he woke up, he saw his 2 daughters fighting over the doll. The father tried to stop them, but they wouldn't listen. He said, won't you listen to your father? Do you love this doll more than your father? But they continued to argue. The father asks, do you want that doll or your father? Then the father starts walking away angrily. From behind, both girls grab his hands and say, we don't want the doll, we want father. And the father hugs them both. Then one day, as usual, the father goes out to work. Again the 2 girls starts arguing. One of the girls snatches the doll and runs towards the back of the house. The other girl chases after her. As they run, they reach a big well. One girl is holding one end of the doll and the other is holding the other end. In their struggle, both of them slip and fall into the big well. The doll breaks into pieces. The holy man says, there was one thing that both of them had in common. They loved their father more than the doll. The holy man says, if we want to get rid of these girls from the house, we have to call their father's spirit. The holy man starts performing a ritual and tells everyone, no one is allowed to leave the room. He starts chanting something. Suddenly a man appears in front of them. Thomas' family is terrified. So the holy man tells the spirit of the girl's father about everything. Then he calls out the girls as if they were alive, saying, come here, my daughters. Suddenly a strong wind blows and the 2 girls appear in front of them, calling out, Dad, Dad. The father says, this was all my fault. All this is happening because of me. I wish I hadn't brought that doll, then my daughters would have been living a good life. He says to his daughters, you were not like this. Did I teach you to trouble others? And both girls get angry. The girls said, we want this doll. This doll is ours. And suddenly the lights in the house flicker and go out. Thomas' family is terrified. The father says, you don't listen to your father. You love this doll more than your father. Even then, both of them continue to stare at the doll. Seeing them, the father says, today I understand that you both love this doll more than me. Do you want a doll or your father? Even then, both girls continue to stare at the doll. The father says, fine, I'm leaving, and turns away. Just then the girls call out, Dad. Both girls say, we don't want a doll, we love our father. And both go and hug their father. The father also hugs them both. And the father tells them, let's go to our world. Both girls tell Rose, take care, and disappear with a faint smile along with their father. Now the atmosphere in the house becomes peaceful, and everyone feels a bit emotional after seeing all this. Thomas tells Rose, you should learn from this. You should never be stubborn about anything. You should be happy with what you have. What you have today is something that others dream of. and you should learn another lesson from this. Rose asks, "What, Dad?" Thomas says, "We should never pick up anything we find on the road and bring it home." After that, Rose's family starts living happily ever after. So viewers, the purpose of my story is to show how a small mistake can change our life. If you like my story, please subscribe my channel and press the bell icon.